In this video, Kwesi and Megan take us through the design of their farm in rural Alberta. Their farm is located near Sundre, and they specialize in growing fungi, various fowl, and they have been working towards creating a profitable farm over the last 5 years. And with any farm or acreage, when you're first getting into it, it's really, really overwhelming. You've got all of these things pulling you in different directions. You've got fencing, dealing with different flora or plant options, different animal or fauna options, trying to figure out what enterprise is going to yield the most profit, dealing with broken pumps and broken water lines and everything else that comes along. It's like Murphy's Law in full force. And so through the design and management of their farm, they were able to distill down what the critical path or critical paths have been through the use of the DIY land design process. So take a look at this case study and see if it resonates. I'm sure you'll learn a ton from what Megan and Kwesi have done. It's a super interesting piece of land in that it's got a lot of topographical variation. And you'll resonate with how complex and difficult it can be to manage, design, and operate a farm on an ongoing basis. If you're interested in learning more about Megan's farm and their fungi operation, or you're interested in getting into fungi yourself, you're going to want to check out their website, and I'll leave it in the show notes below. If you found this video interesting and insightful, please give me a thumbs up down below or leave any comments in the comments field below. If you're interested in other videos around the DIY land design process, leave those in the comments below too, and we can make other videos in the future to help answer some of those questions. Thanks so much, guys. I hope you enjoy the case study, and we'll see you guys all real soon.
Can you guys tell us a bit about who you are and a bit about your property?
Sure. The name of our farm is Akesi Farms, and the word Akesi came from Kwesi's sister, who suggested the name, and it means big things in Fanti, which is it. Great things in Fanti, which is a language spoken in Ghana and West Africa. And Akesi Farms, we sell chicken eggs, we sell honey, we sell some vegetables, and it's also the host of Fungi Quaffo Inc. And Fungi Quaffo is a company that I own with my partner, Tara Stevens, and we do mushroom spawn to help both other small farmers add something to their product line so they can fruit mushrooms and sell them, and also to help people have mushrooms in their backyards.
Awesome. So what was the biggest struggle or concern that you guys had before you took on the program with Dakota?
Water.
Okay.
Yeah. Water management.
Not enough water or water management?
I think it's water management because one of the biggest challenges was during the snow thaw. So we see all the water run down the property, and we were wondering what if there was a way to capture all that water. We just didn't have the means or know how to do that.
Okay.
We currently,
and we didn't get rain for 6 weeks last year.
And we didn't get rain for 6 weeks last year. And the year before we had so much. When did we put the rain catches on?
2016.
2016. Yeah, so I think 2015 we noticed that water was pooling around the buildings, and we kind of figured out it would be nice to channel all the water to the existing dugouts. So in 2016, before June, what we did was we fitted most of the big surface buildings with eaves troughs, and then attached rain heads and channeled it to our dugouts. And as soon as we were done with that, 2 weeks
it rained non-stop.
All our dugouts were full. So we were very happy with that. Because all that water would have pooled around the buildings and stuff like that. And so we knew that water catchment was definitely something we needed to do.
Yeah.
We haven't figured out how to capture the water that runs up down the hill, down, along the driveway from especially when the snow melts. We have water constantly running down the driveway, eroding the driveway, and it would be nice to capture that water. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we did walk up the property and sighted areas we think we can put some kind of dugouts to capture some of the runoffs. And so that's in the plan for this year. We don't know whether we'll get to it.
Nice. So you mentioned that water was your biggest kind of concern, and the reason that you guys decided to take this course. What you mentioned a few things, but what overall about water? Like, what was the emotional, physical, financial, or mental implications of that water management issue that you guys were having?
I think emotionally for us, it's more about long term of planning for the future and being able to have enough water if it either rains, like managing water if it rains too much and managing water if it doesn't rain enough.
Yeah.
Financially, I don't know that there's a lot of implications financially besides making sure that whatever we choose to do is appropriate, that we don't make any mistakes at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for us, it's just like understanding, because we know how much climate change is impacting our region, and just understanding what we need to do so that we don't put ourselves in a state where one day we have all these gardens and we have no water.
Yeah.
So there is an indirect financial issue with not managing water, I guess, in that you just might not be able
Yes.
to.
Yes.
Yes, agreed.
Okay. So how did the holistic land design and kind of process that you went through with regards to the design process help you guys to overcome these concerns?
It forced us to write things down instead of just talking about them. I think that was the first thing that was good. I mean, we all know we need to do it, but when you have a structure to do it, it makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So just getting stuff written down and using Google Earth. Like we knew about Google Earth and we'd sort of used it before, but we hadn't pushed ourselves to invest enough time in putting everything down. And so I think it just solidified that what we were thinking, like we're on track. Like everything that we did in the course just sort of solidified in my mind that water, once we figure out more about water, then we can tackle some of the other challenges that we have.
So did it put your mind at ease, guys, a little bit?
Did it put our minds at ease?
Well, at least from where I'm sitting, I know I can bring up the Google Earth representation of our land and know where things are supposed to be and what things are supposed to look like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. When we bring up Google Earth, we know every nook and cranny of that piece of property, what we can do here, what we can do there. And that's very, very powerful, actually. Very, very powerful. What would you say?
Yeah, I think for me, it was more that we've known forever that we need to do more planning.
Mm.
And I think it was just good that I feel better now that we've done more planning.
Yes.
How are you guys looking at your land and your life differently now?
Do we look at our lives differently now?
I think I don't look at my life differently, but I think that the course you took has made me understand our piece of property a lot better, because I can see and I can look at it on Google Maps and see the potential that we have on the piece of property.
Yeah.
I think I think it was before it was, we knew we had this property, 53 acres, but it wasn't tangible as looking at the property.
But you have the odd challenge of it's harder for you to walk around
Oh,
all those
now
spaces.
it is harder for me to walk around.
So
those spaces.
it's easier for you to look at the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I spend a lot of time walking out there, so
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit different.
Yeah, but I definitely think that looking at the map and understanding the everything on that piece of property is we didn't have that information before you took that course.
No. And for me, I think one of the most powerful things of that course, it's always the same, right? It's meeting other farmers and having people that you can ask questions of and have that shared language too, right? I mean, we had this, it was more than the course, Dakota, because the course and also just talking to people and sharing experiences with people was very de-isolating.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of, well, all of us are really struggling with the same kind of core issues around, planning and goal setting and decision making and all that stuff. So that's great.
Would you guys be open to giving us a tour of your design and what you guys have planned out for the next few years, just on your Google Earth file stem?
Yeah, it's shared. Dakota has it. It's shared in his Dropbox. So
would you guys mind running it on your end, or do you have it up right now?
Oh yeah, we can pull it up. Like right now.
Yeah, if you guys are up for it, it's just what it's easier for you guys to run it on your end. The video and the audio is synced up a little better if we do it that way.
Okay, let me just pull it up. Yeah. Okay, I need to share our screen. I need to share the screen, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because we can talk about this for about 3 hours, you're gonna have to tell me exactly what we should cover.
Well, why don't we start with, if you can, kind of isolate them. What were your top 3 insights as a result of kind of having all this data in one place in a kind of an ordered process?
What were our top insights?
Our top insights are we now understand the paths, the water flow patterns, right?
I think we always understood the waterfall patterns. I think it's more like now we have a very easy way to share what we think about our property with someone else to get their opinion or their idea or their help with something.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more, because before, like I remember having conversations with Dakota before about water, and he kind of stared at me with bug eyes, and I'm like, yeah, because I know what I'm talking about, I think, but how do you share that? And you can't really share that without the visuals. And now we've done an even better job, because not only do we have the visuals, but we keep adding photos and time stamping them, and so we can actually show the changes over time.
Awesome. Would you mind kind of diving into a bit of that and talking about what some of your ideas and designs are around water management?
Okay, so here's our property. The red line is the property line, and it shows the contours. These are 1 meter contours. So Rob's been here as well. That was a long time ago, but basically in the top northeast corner is the highest point of the property, and it just slopes basically straight down into the bottom southwest. However, most of the water is only on the southeast part of the property. So we have like no water. We have no water in this. I assume you can see the coast. We have no water in this whole section right here at all, really. And this is where they used to graze sheep, and we don't know how they got water there for that. So the water runs. I'll have to find. You might have to be patient just a second.
There's water.
I want to show the map from Brent water catchment. Okay, so I turned on Brent's water catchment, so you can see from like the northeast part, the water flows down this little valley here, and see how it gets purple? That's a huge amount of water that comes through our property every year. And then the blue, see the blue hits that big pond right here? I can turn on the big pond. Okay, those are a major, so this is the big pond here. And so the water hits here. You want me to what? Zoom out. Zoom out. So, yeah. Okay, so the water comes down here, it hits this big pond, hits this lower pond, and then leaves the property down here. That's our most of the water leaves the property that way. And then in the springtime, the water comes down the hill here along that pathway. Where's the walking path? Okay, so see this is about where the walking path, so the water comes down this pathway and hits in this low line, and then it just comes down the driveway and then just leaves down here. So that's the rest of the water where it goes. So our plan right now is to, first of all, we want, where did I put the plans? Potential. Okay, so where did I put the stuff for the duck pond? Now we have so many things here. Oh, you know what? I put it in. Put it in here. Okay, so our first idea is to expand what we call the duck pond here to capture more water in the spring. And this is mostly water that comes off the barn, but it also fills by itself, and we don't actually understand why. But there we go. So that's our first plan, is to just capture more water here, which will allow us to have water in an area closer to our bees. And that will allow us to potentially irrigate a section of land here with lots of wildflowers, so that in drought years we can actually irrigate a section so that the bees don't lose all of their food sources, like what happened last year. So we only got one pull of honey last year because it didn't rain for 6 weeks, and the wildflowers don't die, but they quit blooming. And so the bees lose their food source. So that's plan number one, and it has the added benefit of Dakota's idea of adding creating little paddocks here, and
there are two paddocks there, then we can stripe it to make it 6 off.
Yeah, so add a bunch of little paddocks here where we can rotationally graze our chickens and our geese, and maybe a dairy sheep in the future. Okay, so that's that area there, and we have to work a little bit more on the overflow here.
To move the overflow from going towards the mobile home. Right?
Yeah, we want to keep the water away from the mobile home. And if I look at, I can show, here, I can actually show what, come on. Okay, so this is what it looked like just earlier this week, this pond. And I can show you, and so, like currently what it looks like in the summertime. It's sort of a nice spot.
Wow.
So it should be very easy to make this pond bigger. Okay, so that's the first one. And then the next thing that we want to do is potentially build a dam at the top of the hill. And this is our most technically challenging thing that we don't really know how to do. So, well, the first problem is well, anyways, we think there's some spots up here where we could build a dam upon something to just store water at the top of the hill. This is Dakota's like just brief 5-second look at it of maybe we could also build a wing dam to capture rainwater, like today, it's pouring rain today, into that spot. And then if we had spot water at this elevation, then we have enough water pressure to move water literally anywhere on our property. So then all of a sudden it becomes possible to have either grazing in this west side over here, which is one of our few sort of open areas. And it's just fast becoming overcome by aspen right now. Maybe even have other food forest trees over there potentially. It gives us that potential as well. And it gives us also the potential, which has been really important for us for a long time, and I think Rob actually brought this up at the very beginning, is if we have water at pressure, we can have a fire suppression system for our house and whatever buildings we choose.
Yes.
And then it doesn't rely on electricity.
Yes.
Or any other fuel source to run. And so that's another like major bonus that we'd like to do. And so when I was at Dakota's place, I saw his solar pump where they're pumping water from a lower spot up the hill. And so we could do that as well. Because especially right now, because there's so much water down here, that if we could just move it up here in the springtime, when it rains a lot, then it would also prevent more water from running off the property. Yeah. The other thing that we didn't talk to you about Dakota is what we call our sheep pond. And that's this pond right here in the middle of the screen. And this pond is in this sort of, I think it's actually actually up there.
Yeah, natural basin.
I think the pond is actually, don't you think we might have it the wrong spot?
Yeah.
At any rate, it's sort of in this natural basin area. I actually I'm actually going to move it to actually where we think it probably is. It's unfortunately our aerial photo is quite old and not very good resolution, so sometimes we get things a little bit wrong.
Anything too big.
Yeah.
If Rob or I comes out there sometime, we can bring our drones and reshoot your guys' property to get some decent imagery if you need.
That would be amazing. And I've actually been asking around for that, and I can't find anyone to do it. And all I got told was I should just buy a drone. I'm like I need more tools. But anyways, okay. So it's about.
Yes.
Okay.
About that.
So when we went and walked over there the other day, and I haven't added the photos into Google Earth yet, but this is a huge natural basin here. And so we're going to make this pond bigger as well. And this pond is really important for wildlife. So a lot of deer and moose and like all sorts of animals drink from here. And then the good thing about that, having that water there, is that we're adding a new greenhouse to fruit mushrooms in this year.
Oh, nice.
And that will actually provide us with water, which we've been just struggling figuring out how to get water there, like without running a pump all the time. This is the main greenhouse. I must have added it somewhere, no? Do you see? Well, at any rate, right in these woods right here is where we're putting a fruiting greenhouse. We actually just bought the wood for the foundation yesterday. And so that way it's not really downhill enough, but it will be easier to move water from there to keep the humidity high in this greenhouse here for the mushrooms. So that's a good idea. And then we walked around the other day, and this is where So there's some spots over here where there's a ton of water pooling. There's like a little stream right here, right? There's like water pools here, and then it goes, actually this is kind of like, this is not reflected at all in the contour lines, but there's a little cliff here. And the water just has this little trickle and just goes in there, and then it just goes into like this sort of marshy area, and then it just eventually exits the property. So we're trying to think of, wow, and this is where our root vegetable garden is over here. We're thinking, wow, maybe we could just, oh yeah, we're, would be in gardens, in flora, flora. Which number is flora?
It should be below structures there.
7. Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Okay, so kitchen, there's the kitchen garden here, and then, okay, and then, yeah. Okay, so anyways, there's this water that just ends up over here, and we think it could be really easy to capture it. We just don't know how to, like, if we dig a trench or we do something, then, and you're trying to make water go a certain way, then I remember my Rob Avis talks. As soon as you have something on the gradient, you know, you're going to create erosion. So we just have to understand better what tools we can actually use so that we can sort of redirect this water that's creating all these temporary ponds right now and put them into something bigger. And maybe we won't have water all year, but we would have water maybe for part of the year, like until the end of July or something. Maybe it dries up for August. But how awesome would that be to have a big pond right near the root vegetable garden? We can just add a little pump and a little sprinkler to do that. There isn't really enough gradient in this space to have water at pressure close by.
So it seems like having a tool that has allowed you to consolidate all of your resources and opportunities allows you to take a much more holistic look of the overall farm ecosystem in a way.
Yeah. But I think two things have happened though at the same time, like just to be fair, is that this is our 4th summer at the farm. And I think Kwesi and I both feel like we have better grip on things now.
Yeah, we have better understanding of things.
So I think it's both things combined of we were ready mentally, and I think sort of knowledge-wise of our property, we were ready to go to the next level of not being in emergency mode all the time. So I think it just happened, like it's just serendipitous that the course was offered and all these things sort of just happened at the right time in our lives as well.
Well, just, I mean, having that 4 years of observation has probably made the ability to kind of combine all this data that much more effective. Like, had you done this 3 years ago, you know, you probably would not have come to the same result as you have as a result of pain points and emergencies and walking the land and seeing it through a few seasons. So
yeah. Megan and Kwesi, how long did it take you guys to compile all that kind of 4 years worth of observation and now the design work that you're doing? How long did it take you outside of the course?
Not that much, you know.
I think that we had a sense of where stuff were, but the course definitely
forced us to put stuff on the map.
Yeah.
But we talk about it all the time.
We talk about it all the time. But the course definitely has helped us consolidate everything into one location that we can look at and stuff like that. It wasn't too much of a challenge figuring out, where is this? We had all that knowledge. This is just the first time we'd be giving us the opportunity to put it on this tool so that we can see what we've always known was out there.
Absolutely. Has it made? Do you feel like it's going to make your decision making easier? Like, I mean, obviously you've walked us through like a few different scenarios as far as how you can now deal with that water management issue. Is it going to make the communication between the two of you and also, you know, other contractors and developers easier?
Yes.
So because now we can see.
Because now we can actually
Visual.
even print this out
Mhm.
and share it. And I think even Ian made a comment about he was doing water plans with the provincial government, and now I forget the term. Taco, you might know it. The water management.
The long-term water management plan.
There we go. And he said that the technician he was working with at the province used Google Earth, and so he was just able to whip up something in Google Earth and share it with them.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's pretty amazing, right? It just makes it so much easier. I mean, we just went through the process of applying for a development permit for our tours, and it was painful because, you know, at the county level, they would only accept flat maps in black and white. And you know, and that was a challenge. So what I actually did is I took some, well, it was before we did everything in Google Earth, but what I would do now is just actually screenshot this and put into Visio and then just trace everything. So it's to scale, right? Because I mean, I lose patience with that kind of stuff. But anyways, but maybe one day the county will get more on board with, because you know, when I drew out the walking paths for our mushroom tours, I mean, it's on a blank piece of paper. They can't. How do they understand that you're walking through the forest and that you're not going to be able to be seen from the road? And you know, it's different, right?
Totally. Yeah. So Megan, I'm curious, who do you think would benefit from this program after coming through it?
Oh, anyone like us, for sure. Anyone, I think anyone who owns a sizable piece of land. I mean, I don't know if this is really necessary if you just have a backyard. I mean, it would help, I think, but yeah, any small farmers like us who are just trying to get organized and have a tool.
And understand your piece of the property.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was evident, like Taco, when we did the course, that there was, you know, we had two sets of people who were inheriting or whatever land, and they hadn't spent a lot of time on it, and it was a lot more challenging for them.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Like they did an amazing job, obviously, and I think they're probably better set up than we were at the beginning. But not being on your land for a little bit, it makes it really hard.
I was also very impressed with is he Ian?
Yeah.
He'd been on the land for I think 10 years or something.
Oh yeah, at least.
He came across the presentation he did with the tool.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell.
You can tell, yeah.
Yeah.
If you've been on your land and you're using this tool, you have better control. You know, you have a lot more knowledge than being away from the land and trying to use the tool to represent information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing it does, like, is that at least with the contour lines and with like the maps that Brent does with the water, even if you're not there, you at least go with an initial understanding of where the water is flowing. I mean, we had Brent's maps done like at the very beginning when we first moved here, and I would say that because we knew of these water flows, well, we didn't question it because we also observed it, but that was helpful for sure, because we just knew that there was supposed to be water here, and there was water here, and it matched the map, and there was no guessing about it.
Yeah, but it took us 3 years. We got the maps done in 2015, but 2018 is when you took the holistic courses when we really
used them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. How clear are you guys about what the next 5 years of implementation looks like on your property?
I don't think we've done that long-term planning. I think we know what we need to do for the next 2 years.
Okay.
We need to work on that more, so that's on us to do that. We have some major choices to make about animals on the land, about where our revenue is going to come from to support the farm. So, you know, and who knows? I mean, we're not big on planning, I think. It's like
this is teaching us, right?
no, I know, but we're also really open to opportunities. I mean,
Opportunities, yeah.
I never would have bought the mushroom company
Yes.
if like just I think we've been so lucky because so many things have landed in our laps and we've just been open to embracing them. And so we haven't been that rigid in our thinking about it.
Mhm.
And now that we have so many options and we have so much more experience, I think now we can sort of decide what do we go ahead with and what do we not go ahead with. And so the agritourism business, we're going to see how it goes this year. We're also involved with some local food and a pop-up restaurant and some other things in the Bergen area this year. So depending on how that goes, and if we think there's more momentum in that, I think we'll shift towards that. And if both of them are complete flops and we don't think a second year is going to work, then we'll do something else. So we're probably not the best, like 10-year plan couple.
Well, but I mean, 10-year plans are good to create, but they're, it's important to recognize exactly what you just said, that there are opportunities and things that come along that you just can't predict. And so being open to that. And that's really kind of the last question, which is, when you have a management process, then as those new opportunities inevitably do come, do you feel that having a holistic context and the ability to literally look at your property from a satellite perspective with all these data layers in it, has that made, or do you think it's going to make for management and monitoring going forward a lot easier for you, and also making those decisions about those opportunities as they come forth?
I think so, because one thing I can say, I know for sure now is a lot of the guesswork has been taken out since we
and we're talking about like physically managing the land, right?
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the holistic context since the beginning has always been helpful to us.
Yes.
I wouldn't say that we look at it regularly, but we know what's on it, and we know sort of what we stand for. And I think that was a really good exercise for us to do a while ago. We actually recently got interviewed by the University of Alberta.
Yes.
Something.
Oh,
I don't even know who they were. Oh, the Dakotas.
Yeah.
You sent
you
them
send
to
them
us.
to us. Yes.
They're looking at decision making.
Decision making, yes, that's right. And so we showed them our holistic context, and they were like, "Man, we've never seen anyone have this type of document before."
Yeah.
And yeah, and so I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the holistic context is helpful. Having the map is helpful. I think being able to put the pictures in here with dates on them is going to be very helpful for us for monitoring, because we tried so hard to journal, and we just failed. Like we every few months we're like, we're gonna do this again, and we don't do it. But we're not bad at taking photos.
No, we take a lot of photos. Yes.
So I think that will be a better way of just saying, hey, this is how high the pond was, in spring 2 years ago, and this is how high it was this year, and then it's been last year the ice was off a month before. Like there's still ice on our pond now, our big pond now. And so I think having it all in one place
I think that's
super
powerful. Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah.
Being able to view it all on one place, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, you guys have done an incredible amount of work on this stuff, and I don't know if you guys aren't excited. I am for you guys for the next couple of years. It's just, I mean, already have an incredible property, but with those little kind of tweaks and changes that you're looking at making, I hope I can make it out there sometime.
Yeah. Well, it looks very different from your place.
Totally.
Awesome.
Rob, any other questions?
No, I'm just really impressed, and it's just the thing that always strikes me about this tool is how it's a non-linear way of communicating information. I write a lot of reports for my clients because that's kind of what we've been trained to do, like stuff like this, and which is great, and it's got lots of good information in it. But when you can click layers on and off, and like you just moved that pond in 3 seconds because it wasn't quite right, it's a hyper flexible way of managing complexity and kind of aggregating all the information into one place so that you guys can make informed decisions. And you guys have clearly done a lot of work here, and what's great is that if you keep using the tool, it's going to continue to complex, and but without making it more difficult. Things should actually simplify down as a result of bringing in more information and more layers. So I think you guys have done an amazing job, and I am going to make it out there, and love to walk the property again. So.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think we're excited too.
Oh yeah, I mean, looking at it right now on the map, it's amazing how much being in it. You know there's so much work. You don't tend to realize how much you've actually added to the piece of property. But sharing what we've done with you, we realize that actually we've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
Totally. Great.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing, guys. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Many land stewards feel overwhelmed with the complexity of designing and managing land in a way that is ecologically regenerative, financially sustainable, functionally resilient, and actually enjoyable.
Dakota and I have consulted on many dozens of properties across Canada where we work one-on-one with landowners to provide them with the tools, resources, and support to design and manage the property of their dreams with the confidence of having an engineer and a farmer at their sides. Recently, the demand for our services has grown exponentially, but time, money, and distance often prevent us from being able to help.
Our online DIY land design course is the solution. Built from our tried and tested 5-step consulting process, this program will allow you to clarify your vision, values, and resources, diagnose your property for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, design the resilient property of your dreams, implement your design with the appropriate tools, resources, and support, and manage and monitor your property holistically so you can actually achieve your goals.
The best person to design your property is you. Join us for this 12-week program. We guarantee our process will save you time, money, and the tears. Stop the grind and start growing the resilient property of your dreams.
If you'd like to chat about this program to see if it's a fit, hit the request a call back button below.
We hope to see you in the program real soon.